general, in the Black in the game industry, Black people represent about a little over 1%.
Mm.
Now I'm gonna say that again.
Wait, 1% in terms of employees? Employees
in the game industry as a whole. That's including Microsoft and PlayStation and Nintendo. And if you add in all the big development houses, we Black people represent about 1% of the employees in the game industry. And so as a network of Black ERGs or employee network groups, we are all coming together, whether it's Microsoft or it's, Nintendo or Ubisoft or, a collective of all the various development houses. All their Black employee network groups are coming together. And we're looking for how we can make a difference, make a change, and improve that. So talent acquisition is key. Internship programs, key. Mentorship programs, key. So we're really looking at career development. We're looking at recruitment. We're looking at retention of employees. We're also looking at ways that we could support the platform. And so, we want to contribute and have other opportunities. It would be great to have a Black studio at PlayStation, right?
Wow.
It would be great. So those are some of the things that we're pitching. It's not to say that may come to fruition, but we're definitely pitching the ideas. And we brought all of this to Jim. And what we really appreciated from him is that he didn't say that anything was not doable. He basically said that the things that we put before him were things that he definitely didn't have a big challenge with. And so now we have our due diligence to do. We had a summit in September, and we're now taking all of those goals and objectives and we're mapping them out, putting them before our executive sponsorship and getting approval to forge forward.
My name is Dr. Marc Williams. Welcome to my Masterclass. I have a PhD in education from West Virginia University. I have a master's in sport management and an MBA from the University of Massachusetts. I even have an undergraduate degree in sociology from William Patterson University. And currently, I'm the Global Scholar Practitioner at HBCU, Florida Memorial University. But I also work for 3 of the largest sports brands in the world, Reebok, Champ Sports, and Foot Action. But I can't go anywhere without my Jordan 1s. Join me and my guests as we explore their rise to the top through adversity and challenges. It's time to help you find a hero in you. Welcome to my Masterclass. Welcome to Dr. Marc's Masterclass. We are back. And you see, yes, I don't usually wear a hat. And that rhymed. I was not trying to rhyme. I was not trying to spit that fire that way, but I'm wearing my Florida Memorial University hat. You see, you know what it is, right? And I got the Florida Memorial gear today. This is not the Florida Memorial show, but I just happened to wear this. But I got to shout out President Hardrick. Thank you, my fraternity brother, my alpha brother. Thank you, Dr. Cooper, who is the provost. And I am this global scholar practitioner at Florida Memorial University. What is that? That means that I'm working closely with the provost on creating a STEM-based program for students that want to have careers in AR, VR, and game design, and entertainment, and fashion, and film, and marketing, and communications, and computer science. It's going to be amazing, and we're working on that. This fall, we will have our first curriculum guide set up. We will also this spring have an esports masterclass. I have 5 student ambassadors. You're going to learn more about that very soon. We're going to have them on the show talking about their journey. We're just going to have a great time. But today, before I even talk about my guests, I got to do this, my friends, because I don't know how long we're going to be in this pandemic, but this thing right here, the mask, so important. Yes, I want you to rock this, wear this when you have the opportunity. Actually, all the time, unless you're inside the house, please wear this, please. This helps save lives. And I have my Miramar, Florida, which is next to Fort Lauderdale and Miami. And the mayor, I got to shout him out. Mayor Messam. You know, Mayor Messam, my fraternity brother, my alpha brother. I don't know why this is black and gold, but it's nice, right? That's the color of my fraternity, as you know already by now. But Mayor Messam, he also ran for president of the United States. Obviously, he did not win, but he ran for president. Bold move. And we still cheer for him. So shout out to Mayor Messam. And you remember his name, Messam. It's like if you say, I'm going to mess him up. You know, that's what they used to call him when he played football at Florida State. Yeah, he got a national championship ring in 1993. So that's how I remember his name. I'm going to mess him up, right? But not in a negative way. But let's talk about something even more positive. Not to say that Mayor Messam isn't positive, because he is. Anyway, we're going to talk to you a little bit about our guests. But before we do, I want to make sure that we give the proper shout out to Esports Future Ride Podcast Network. That is who employs me, my friends. Yes, and we're powered by Innovation Media Enterprises. I got to give a shout out to my girl, Sia and Aaron, always holding it down. The two of the best producers and business partners in the land. And I also got my brother, AJ, you know, the sound engineer. You know, he holds it down for us. I call him, he's on the ones and twos. I don't mean that he's a DJ, but he is kind of like the sound DJ. So AJ knows I love this brother. So thank you. And then we also got to give shout out to Jacob Miles III. Not the first, not the second, but the third. He is the man that made this all happen, made this all possible. And so thank you, Jacob, for bringing us all together. But I want to make sure that I give the proper, just the information. I want to give you the right information about this next person, because I don't want to mess up her title. So she has two titles, right? One title is plural. One title is singular. No, I'm kidding. All right. So her first title. So this young lady, she's a pretty big deal. And she works for a company that is known for consoles. And it's not the other company. The company that she works for is either the other company or PlayStation. Gee, Mark, what's the other company? I don't know. So PlayStation, yes, she works for PlayStation. And she's a director of services, support services and operations for Worldwide Studios Quality Assurance at PlayStation. Let me repeat that again. Okay. If I just say she was a director, you say, oh, that's pretty cool. But she's a director of support services. I understand that a little bit. And operations. Okay. For Worldwide Studios Quality Assurance. I don't know what that means, but she's going to tell us. But she's also the president of Black at PlayStation. Let me say it again. Not blacks, but Black at PlayStation. And you're thinking, oh my God, she's a director with all these titles. I don't know what that means, but she's also Black at PlayStation? Is that such a thing? Yeah, it is. And she's going to tell us a little bit about that. So without further ado, welcome my friend and also now your friend, Miss Davina Mackey. How you doing, girl?
I'm well, Dr. Marc. How are you?
Now, you know, that was fun. I do like my grandmama used to say. I say, Grandma, how you doing? She'd say, doing like the Hindu, doing the best I can do. Grandma Opal, yes.
I'm doing all right. Thank you very much for asking.
Yes,
so happy to be here.
And that was a good song, All Right, because I'm a big person of songs. All Right was a song by Janet Jackson back in the day. All right with
okay.
Yeah. Say, I like music. And Mary J. Blige has a song, Music. Yeah, now don't get me started with everybody. Anyway, Davina, it is great to see you. Now, I know you're not used to seeing a college professor act a fool like this, but I got to sometimes. I got to. I mean, you can't have students in the class sitting there like, oh my God, is he going to PowerPoint us to death?
We don't want you to bore the students, so I'm glad you have a little bit of personality.
You got to have personality. And, and I got my J's. I got to always wear my Jordan ones up in here, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So I got to keep it fresh and clean, and the Florida Memorial gear, you know what it is. So Miss Mackey,
representing.
Got to represent, my friend. So let's unpack these titles that you have.
All right.
First, the Director of Support Services and Operations for Worldwide Studios Quality Assurance. What does that mean?
So let me break it down for you. So I am with Worldwide Studios, which is a division, one of the divisions within Sony Interactive Entertainment, or what we call PlayStation. So Worldwide Studios, they manage to design, develop, and launch all the first-party titles for video games for the PlayStation platform. And there is a division, a global division called Quality Assurance, or Worldwide Studios Quality Assurance. And this division, we test all the first and second party titles that's launched on the platform. Make sure that they go out and have as little bugs as possible. And so our customer is all the studios, all the PlayStation studios, whether they're first party, which means Sony outright own them, or second party, which is, we own the rights to the intellectual property or the title itself. And so I am the director of support services for quality assurance. And that just means that I manage a global team of individuals that is either developing tools for supporting quality assurance globally, or managing the vendors for any external capabilities, or maybe we don't have the capacity internally to house all the testers, and so we use external vendors to support that. And then we have an in QA support team. So environment configuration, meaning we're moving computers to one spot or another, or reconfiguring, workstations in order to support the studio. So it's really 3 verticals that combine support services and operations, and I'm the director of that team.
Wow. WOW. So do you get a chance to play any of the games too? Whether you guys
that's
are
part of my job. So I'm not the best at it. In fact, the controller is still a bit, I'm an Atari girl. I'm joystick and the red button and asteroids and Galaga and Pac-Man.
Yes. and Outrun and
Yes. And so
what's the most difficult thing adjusting to the 2021 controller versus the joysticks of Atari?
Hand-eye coordination and remembering those doggone combinations. You start bringing in L1, L2, R1, R2, X, square, circle, triangle. Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. Wouldn't it be cool if you just voice control it? Hey, go this way, go right, go left.
I think they have that in accessibility function. So,
yes.
You can go into accessibility and kind of program it to simplify things. You know what? That's a good idea, actually, but then it's no fun.
It is fun. Left, make it right. I got you. Make it right. Make it left again. Yeah, that's, to me, it's like, let's don't oversimplify it. Make it simple.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, having a job where you get to play games and people think that it's a game, but, it's a lot of work. We play hard, we work hard equally.
I love it. Love it. But you have a smile on your face, so that's great. So we love that.
Definitely that. So.
And how big is your staff?
My team, I have about 30 people. That's including full-time managers and contingent staff. And my team is across the U.S., the U.K., and Japan.
Wow. How often, now that you're in the pandemic, I know you were talking about going back to the office in June, July. What has that been like for you in terms of the adjustment?
Wow. So really, it was a nice transition prior to COVID. And in fact, I was in Japan when COVID started. I was in Japan for a whole week, the week of January 17th. And I can recall having to wear a mask on the plane to come home because the first cases were showing up in China and Japan and then in the US. But I was traveling maybe 30% of the time prior to that, 40% of the time. And then being able to work from home, it's interesting because the travel stopped. However, the hours, became very long. And it was because we were in the middle of a PS5 launch. And normally my team is behind the scenes, and all of a sudden we were pushed to the forefront because we needed to make sure that we could take about, 300 to 400 testers and take them from working in the office to working at home. And we had to do the equal same, making sure our vendors could do equally the same, and then make sure they have the right hardware to be able to complete the testing. So it was an interesting transition, COVID coming into play, and then having to leave the office and then try and work from home. Hours were really long.
Oh, right now, when you're working with your team, how often do you meet with the team now? Once a week or?
Oh, I meet with my team. So managers, I meet with my managers once a week, but we're meeting daily on various projects and initiatives that we're working on. So, having a global team, I can start my day at 7 a.m. and I can end it at 7 p.m. because I'm trying to incorporate both the UK time zone and Japan time zone as well.
So before we get into the kind of the role of what you do and some of the things that PlayStation's done really well, and the other title that you have, Black, not blacks, but Black at PlayStation. Tell everybody what that is, and you're the president of that.
Yeah, so Sony Interactive Entertainment has a group of employee networks or employee resource groups, or back in the day, they were called affinity groups, right? So Black at PlayStation is one of several, and we've been up and running for about 4 years. I've been president for 3 of those 4. And so, that affords us the opportunity to look at how Black people fare as employees at PlayStation. And we work really hard to make being Black at PlayStation a very equitable, fun, career-oriented, and pleasant place to work and play.
So what is the biggest, well, I'm saying biggest, what is the most significant thing you did as a group that you've done, and what are some of the things you're looking to do as a brand, as an organization within Black at PlayStation?
Yeah, so this year has been very eye-opening for us. Before, we did a lot of cultural awareness type of events, which is great, to keep people informed about the Black culture where you work. But with the whole Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd horrific, ordeal, we've had the opportunity to leverage the Sony social justice initiative, where Sony has pledged to donate $100 million to various social justice organizations. And through that, we have the privilege, Black at PlayStation, of not just looking at external ways to inform our community about video game opportunities in the gaming industry and the PlayStation platform, but we also have an opportunity to support our employees and make sure that they have career opportunities or development opportunities, that they're being paid, they have pay equity, and they also have mentorship programs and opportunities to support commerce initiatives. Black at PlayStation, we are working to do a lot of things for our employees, but we're also looking at opportunities to support, the community. And we're working with several organizations in order to make sure that we can fuel the pipeline of talent, whether you're in middle school, high school, or university. And we're really targeting the HBCUs and making sure that through working with several organizations such as BCGA, Black Collegiate Game Association, and other associations, that we can support you all. support the initiatives to get our Black students into the gaming industry, working in the gaming industry, developing IP in the gaming industry, and doing esports as well.
And so we are, when she mentioned BCGA, actually, Davina and I are both on the board of the BCGA. Right. And the BCGA is run, CEO and founder is Keisha Walker, who is a 25-year marketing veteran guru. And when she asked me to be a part of her board, I didn't even hesitate, not because she's a woman and I want to just be nice, because she's one of the most accomplished women, actually women or man, in marketing in the last 25 years, and what she does is phenomenal. And one of the things that people think that if you come from the marketing community and you want to get into video games, that you've got to pay your dues. Yeah, you do. But I think the easier part is that if you understand marketing and you understand the non-endemic brands, and you learn about the video game industry, you're going to be able to do some great things in the space, and you'll be able to work closely with the people in the video game industry because you understand it much better. But you got to come in there humble and understand it. And I love that about Keisha. And she brought us together. That's how Davina and I know each other. We developed a really fun relationship. I'm not even going to tell the story when I first called Davina. No. I'm not going to tell that story. So we were all on a call together. I'm not going to tell the story.
You probably should.
Okay, I'll tell the story.
It's funny.
You see the personality, how awesome she is. So we all had each other's numbers. And I texted Davina, but I was texting her on the wrong phone, the cell phone, her work cell, I think it was. And so she's not paying attention to work fill at night. So I called her and I said, "Hi, how are you doing? This is Marc, Dr. Marc Williams." And she I don't think she realized that I was the same person that was on the phone with her 3 and 4 nights earlier. And tell them what your response was. Who this is? She was like, "Who that is?" No. What you calling me for?
I basically said, "Who is this? I'm busy. I'll call you later."
Yes, and I was like, okay. And you know how you do when you don't get picked on the team, maybe. Well, I never got not picked on the team, but when a kid doesn't get picked on the team, they put their head down, they all sad. I was like, oh man.
I thought he was a spammer. I thought he was spamming me, trying to sell me something.
Because my number was a 304 area code. I'm like, that's my West Virginia
number. Who do I know in 304?
Well, I'm not a telemarketer. She thought I was a telemarketer or something. And I was like, look, I went to West Virginia. I kept my number. Okay. And then she realized, like, then what did you realize? You was like, oh, like Slick Right.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
Yes. You know that song is
I
a real.
apologize.
Oh my God.
I apologize.
No, you were fine. And we've developed a really awesome rapport. You see the personality, you see the relationship is there. And I would like to say, can we share something that we might be doing together in February later this year? Or that's too early to share. We're going to do something special. Too early to share, but we're going to come back at some point this year, and we're going to have a nice little video to show what we did, and we're going to smile, and she's going to say, we're going to recall this story as we always do. Okay.
No, we're really looking to do some really exciting things. We want to bring the game industry, how games are developed, to the students and help them really understand what it's like to be an employee or work in the game industry. So I look forward to the opportunity to bring these programs and work with Dr. Marc to make it all happen. And just hold tight. And in a couple of months, we'll be able to formally announce.
Yes, I'm holding tight. And that song, Make It Happen by Mariah Carey. See, I know my music, okay? So anyway, I'm curious to know something. You and I talked about this. Before we talk about it, thank you so much for being a great partner. And again, we got to shout out to Keisha Walker because Keisha made this happen.
That's right.
So I'll be remiss if I didn't.
Yes, the girl.
Yes, she is. And if you look her up, Keisha Walker is dynamic. I got to get her on LinkedIn to be serious about LinkedIn. I try to get everybody on LinkedIn. They're on LinkedIn, but they don't use it like I use it. But it don't matter because we're here to help each other. So one of the things that I liked about when you first told me about Black in Gaming, Black at PlayStation, you said something interesting about your CEO, and he had challenged your group to come up with what are some of the issues that are facing the Black community, especially after the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And he got, I believe the person in HR, and because the person in HR that you were telling me about had said, "Hey, here's some issues," and they're like, And you would think that the presidents or CEOs of companies would be kind of reluctant, and they were like, "Okay, give me some more." Like Buster Ryan, give me some more, right? And it was like Jim Ryan. Is that your CEO?
Jim Ryan is our
Yeah.
CEO. He's a fabulous guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, when everything happened with George Floyd, he pretty much corralled us together and asked us straight up, what are things impacting Black people at PlayStation, and what can we do to support you? And, that was a pretty big ask for us because no one had ever asked us that. And we didn't know even that we had permission to really strategize. And so we came together as a unit and really assessed how Black people fared at PlayStation. And although we all are professional and we are skilled individuals coming from various backgrounds and various disciplines, one of the things that we all know is that we're a commodity. Well, no, I'm not going to say that either. We are not numerous at PlayStation. There are not very many of us. And so some of the things that we looked at, not just retention, but talent acquisition. How can we improve upon the number of employees, Black employees at PlayStation, and make sure that we're represented? So we are looking at strategies to improve that number. And we have a target. I'm not going to share it today, but at some point it'll be public what we're trying to target. In general, in the Black, in the game industry, Black people represent about a little over 1%. Now I'm gonna say that again.
Wait, 1% in terms of employees?
Employees in the game industry as a whole. That's including Microsoft and PlayStation and Nintendo. And if you add in all the big development houses, Black people represent about 1% of the employees in the game industry. And so as a network of Black ERGs or employee network groups, we are all coming together, whether it's Microsoft or it's, Nintendo or Ubisoft or, a collective of all the various development houses. All their Black employee network groups are coming together. And we're looking for how we can make a difference, make a change, and improve that. So talent acquisition is key. Internship programs, key. Mentorship programs, key. So we're really looking at career development. We're looking at recruitment. We're looking at retention of employees. We're also looking at ways that we could support the platform. And so, we want to contribute and have other opportunities. It would be great to have a Black studio at PlayStation, right?
Wow.
It would be great. So those are some of the things that we're pitching. It's not to say that may come to fruition, but we're definitely pitching the ideas. And we brought all of this to Jim. And what we really appreciated from him is that he didn't say that anything was not doable. He basically said that the things that we put before him were things that he definitely didn't have a big challenge with. And so now we have our due diligence to do. We had a summit in September, and we're now taking all of those goals and objectives and we're mapping them out, putting them before our executive sponsorship and getting approval to forge forward.
Wow. Do you find that him at the helm? Do you find your counterparts that are African American at other brands that they have a leader like that will give them the voice to do something, to have a voice like this?
Oh, definitely. I think that there are levels within each organization that are doing things. I can speak specifically about PlayStation, though. they are definitely giving us the opportunity to make strides to what I call, and this was our summit theme, we're moving the needle. So we're being very strategic in how we address change. And, I'll just put it out there. We are looking at, we don't want 1%. We're targeting 5% increase in 5 years.
Wow.
In 5 years, we want to have gone from 1% representation to 5% representation.
And that's based on
doable.
And that's based on, you want to have that obviously increase within PlayStation, which will increase the number overall. That's what you're aiming for?
Yes, and we're also working with Black in Gaming, which is an organization of professionals in the industry. They are a special interest group as a part of the International Game Developers Association. And so Black in Gaming, we get to network with all of the Black employee employee relationship groups. And, together we are looking at how can we make an impact and grow the number of employees in the industry.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Wow. That's pretty special. I think it's, when you first told me this, I was thinking I now can see, I can see the future. And having someone like you there at PlayStation in the position you're in, being the president of Black at PlayStation, I think really helps to not only move the needle, but it also provides your CEO an opportunity to really take it seriously. And then someone like yourself, you've been there for 16 years now. So you're not someone who just got hired there. You're someone who is actually purposeful and meaningful in terms of how you go about being strategic and what you want to do.
Not just that, I came in grassroots. So I was a project coordinator when I first started. And tell your audio guy, I started off in the sound department.
You hear that? He hears it.
That's right.
That's right. So you never know where your career is headed to, my friend. Doing sound, you never know. You might be running a major video game company because he wanted to do music at one point. I said, you can do it all, my man. AJ can do it all. He's He's a master at what he does.
Look, music is huge. And
yes. Jump on, my man. You hear that? You hear that, right,
music
AJ?
Music is huge in the game industry. You have orchestral sounds, composers that we're dealing with. They're taking all of those assets and they're kind of merging them into just great art that you hear in the video games. You can actually, they do make soundtracks.
Yes, and people win Grammy Awards as early as 2009, nominated and won a Grammy Award in 2011. So that happens all the time.
They definitely do.
Yes. So, AJ, you are in a unique position here, talking to someone who started out in the position you're in, and look at what she's doing. And so let me remind everyone, we're here with Ms. Davina Mackey, and she's the Director of Support Services and Operations for Worldwide Studios Quality Assurance at PlayStation, and also the President of Black at PlayStation. Yes, my friends, we're here with her, and reminding you again that we're here on the Esports Future Ride Podcast Network. It's powered by Innovation Media Enterprises with my girls Sia and Aaron. Thank you for holding us down. And of course, my man AJ, who is a sound engineer on a ones and twos, been out of school a year, college grad, but yet he has many, many dreams. And what would you tell a young person? No, I'm saying, what would you tell a person that just graduated college or someone that's going into college if they were thinking about a career in the video game industry? What kind of advice would you give them?
First thing that I would say is they need to tap into the big industry conventions where all the players come every year. So I would tap into the Game Developers Conference, GDC, every year in March, except for COVID. I think this year it's sometime June or July. But there's a lot of college students that volunteer to support that conference. And through volunteering, not only do you have access to the expo floor where you have talent acquisition for all levels, publishers, game developers, and any support type vendors. you have access to them. You have access to the various talks and panels that are taking place, and you have access to all the new titles and what's coming out on the various platforms. So I would plug in, because being there is where everyone is at, and you can network and meet new people. The other thing that I would suggest is that compete. Make sure that you are plugging into any kind of organization that supports, you know, the video game industry, whether it be esports, whether it be, you know, find those organizations that have programs where you can get internships or sponsorships. And you know, if you are tapping into those organizations and you go through a mentorship program, you might end up getting mentored by someone who actually works for, you know, one of the publishers or one of the development houses. And so the other thing is hone in on your specialty. Make sure that if you want to be a producer, you know, that you are learning all things game development life cycle, and you are understanding project management, and you have some of the competencies necessary to build a portfolio of skills and get involved. If you want to be on the creative side and you want to go into audio, sound design, motion capture, visual arts, you know, that you guys are honing in on those skills, and you're learning what portfolio or, you know, what you need to compete, and get your education. Make sure that you have your degree so that you can compete with everyone else. That's what I would say.
Now, did you know, that's great advice. So important that the internship is so important. The networking is important. And that's something we're going to talk about on the show too, about networking. A lot of people tell you the network and you're like, what the heck is that? What does that mean? And I always tell people, it's not who you know, but who knows you. It's so important to get to know people and find out more about them and ask them questions. And when they come into your university or they come into your high school, they come in your space, that's your house. So if somebody comes into your house, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and just give them your resume? No, you're going to ask them questions. Who are they? Where did they come from? You know, what's the, you know, what did they eat for breakfast? Who their parents are? Would they talk to people? And we're going to teach you, giving you some networking tips. Okay. Networking tip number one. We're going to do this every show. I'm going to give you a tip every day. Number one thing when networking, most important thing, you're going to be like, oh my God, boom, I should have had a V8. Smile. That's the number one thing. Smile. That's a tip, but that's the number one thing. When you walk into a room, nothing is worse than walking into a room and you see people walking around with sad sack faces. Smile. It lights up the room. People want to come talk to you. They become engaged with you. That's tip number one. We have many more tips to talk about on other shows, but I wanted to give you a tip. So every show, we're going to give you a golden nugget, a tip, and we're going to also give the person, this is my first time doing this, Davina, so we're also going to give our guests an opportunity to give their number one networking tip. What's your number one networking tip?
Have a pitch ready, an elevator pitch. You need, and it needs to be in a 30-second, 60-second, 90-second. You never know what level, if you're going to be coming upon an executive or coming upon, you know, someone in grassroots that's doing the work, or middle management. But if someone comes up to you and asks you what you want to do in your career, what are your aspirations, you need to be able to talk about that in a very concise and eloquent way. So my tip is have that elevator pitch about you, your brand, what you're trying to accomplish.
You've heard that. And again, we're gonna go through this. And at some point, Davina, will you be able to come back at some point and we're gonna do our networking show? That's going to do a show about networking. That's right. Okay. And we're going to have some special guests on. I think that would be really cool, AJ, to maybe have about 10 special guests, and we put them on Zoom, and each one gives a networking tip. Now, that would be cool. How about that, AJ?
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yes.
Definitely doable.
Yes, I think we should do something like that. I think it's so important, because I want to see young people or people in general really help move the culture forward. And I mean, not just in the video game industry, but music, fashion, film, education, and all aspects of life. And right now in my life, as I told you many times before, this is legacy time. It's time for me to give back because I've had an amazing career. I've met so many amazing people. I've had a lot of great mentors, women, men, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, all walks of life that have helped me and helped develop me into the person that I am today. And I'm very grateful. And, we're running out of time because that's why we got to bring you back, Davina. I want to say thank you. Again, for coming to just to grace us with your presence. I'm looking forward to working with you on some future projects. And I appreciate the sense of humor. And I'm glad that you came to your senses when you realized that I was good old Marc Williams and not a telemarketer.
You gave me an opportunity to talk about what I do. So that's all good. And yes, you turned out to be not a spammer or, telemarketer. Your actual professor, Dr. Marc.
Dr. Marc, that's me. Tatted up and all, that's me. With a sense of humor, gotta have it. Yes.
I won't tell you what he calls me when he
a GB. Don't want to know what the heck I'm talking about. They're like, what is that? That's our secret. She's a GB. Anyway, we got that on record. And so I had to say that. I had to say it. And all my friends out there know what GB is, right? Yeah. So they'll be like, what is that?
I'm one of those.
Yeah, she's a GB. Definitely a GB. One of my GBs. So we want to say thank you to Davina Mackey, who's the Director of Support Services and Operations for Worldwide Studios Quality Assurance at PlayStation, and also the President of Black at PlayStation. Don't get it twisted. Black at PlayStation, not blacks, but black at
Dr.
PlayStation.
Marc was being politically incorrect at first. I had to straighten him up.
Yes, I did. I said blacks at PlayStation. I'm like, what kind of name is that? And she was like, no, Marc, it's Black at PlayStation when we were offline. So she teased me about, I teased her about her phone etiquette the first time we talked, and she could tease me about my politically incorrect way of saying black at PlayStation, blacks at PlayStation. It's Black at PlayStation. And poor Jim Ryan's going to be like, what is wrong with your friend? Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Jim Ryan, we love you. Okay. She's giving you some props.
Jim Ryan.
And Jim Ryan, thank you.
Person.
Yes, Jim. Thank you for giving the voice for Black at PlayStation, Jim Ryan. Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, brother. And I just want to say again, we want to make sure we shout out the Esports Future Ride Podcast Network. That's who gives me the opportunity to spit this fire all the time for you. And also Innovation Media Enterprises with Cia and Aaron. They're two women, and we got to talk to you about them. Two women, Cia and Aaron, have a podcast company. It's Innovation Media Enterprises, and it's just amazing. And they do a tremendous job. They book our talent. They direct everything. They put it all together and put it on all the social media platforms. An amazing job. And we also they hired this young man back there, AJ. The future's bright for this young man. I'm so excited for him. I always say he's on the ones and twos, makes us look good. And last but not least, we got to thank Jacob Miles III, who made this all happen, made it all possible. Yes, Jacob Miles III, not the first, not the second, but the third. And remember, my friends, you listen to Miss Davina Mackey. She said she wants you to develop a 30, 60, 90-second elevator pitch. That is her networking tip of the day. Mine is the smiles. Like, you ever see Fantasy Island? Smiles, everyone smiles. They need to go YouTube that, okay?
You need to say something after you smile.
Yeah, you got to say something like... my 60-second pitch. What's my name? I forgot. So, no, you don't want to do that. So we're going to go over the pitches, too, when we have our special edition on networking with Dr. Marc's Masterclass. That is coming soon. Not at a theater near you, but at a computer near you, my friends. And remember, you can control your future, and you can control anything in your life, but the only three things you can control, not people, not individuals, you can control yourself. You can control three things: what you think, what you do, and what you say. Let me repeat that again. What you think, what you do, and what you say. God bless you all. And please continue to practice social distancing, my friends. We do not want to see any more deaths in America or outside of America. Please practice social distancing. Wash your hands 20 seconds or more, and make sure that you're using your sanitizer, and make sure you're staying 6 feet or more away from people, and always wear a mask when you're approaching people and talking to people. Please do that. And we look forward to seeing you soon on another edition of Dr. Marc's Masterclass. We'll see you soon. God bless you all. Peace, my friends. Thanks for listening to Dr. Marc's Masterclass. I pray you enjoyed yourself today. I had a good time. I don't know about you, but this podcast is part of the Esports Future Ride Podcast Network and is produced by Innovation Media Enterprises. Please be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast channel and let us know how we're doing by leaving a comment or a review. Class dismissed.